Hi, welcome back. I'm Susan B Lochocki, running for President of the United States as a write-in, and I'm talking about abortions, families, and birth, and lifelong commitment. Yeah, being a mom. Mother's pay. So this is my Matters studio, and this is part 3 of this talk Tuesday. Okay, so I was just talking about, you birth your child vaginally, which is one of the most womanly things we can do. It's what our bodies are meant to do. There is cesarean section, but we were built this way. We were born this way to give birth. And that's why I chose birth, because I'm a woman. That's what makes me special. And you know what? I wouldn't change anything. It's the most beautiful thing you could ever do. Giving birth. It's hard, but you can do it. You can. But you have to be ready, and you have to have support. So after the birth comes breastfeeding, which is what our breasts are actually for. They're for children, for babies. And, some mothers breastfeed for, 2, 3, 4 years of life. And that's fine. I think that's, every parent and child needs to figure out how they want to do it for themselves. I was looking forward to breastfeeding, although I was quite nervous. And in Switzerland, there's breastfeeding everywhere. So it was relatively accepted there. I think in the USA it's a little stricter, you're not supposed to breastfeed in public, and I don't know. I think we need to realize that breastfeeding is also a natural womanly thing. It's a natural mother and child bonding session, and to stress a mother out because she's breastfeeding is terrible. If you want happy and healthy children, you have to accept that we are women. This is what our bodies were meant to do. And we have breasts not for men. They're actually for babies. So as soon as the US comes to terms with that, I think we can move forward. But breastfeeding is normal, natural. It's very womanly. It's very motherly. And our children deserve it. Now, for me, I had difficulties. I don't know why. I think the advice I was given oftentimes was in German, and perhaps I didn't understand it. It's hard being an immigrant, which is what I was when I was in Switzerland. And I was living not in the city, so not everybody spoke English. So I had, difficulties understanding what I was supposed to do. So that's also important, that mothers need this information in their native language when possible. Luckily, we have the internet today, but when I was pregnant and, or when I was breastfeeding, we didn't really have the internet. There was no go-to book for me for all my information. And so I struggled quite a bit. So the first 3 months after you give birth, when you're trying to breastfeed and learn how to take care of this tiny little thing, which you get some training, but nothing prepares you for it. The first 3 months are really hard, and you get no sleep. It's just really exhausting. And on the other hand, it's the most amazing thing too. you're just constantly in amazement at this little life that you have. It's, yeah, just breathtaking, just so incredibly amazing. But, I had the luxury. My husband was getting paid a good salary, and so I could stay home and enjoy this process. And because we lived in Switzerland, he got time off too. So he was able to be around and help and be part of the process during the first 3 months. And I tell you, there were times where I was up every 3 hours breastfeeding, or we eventually, after 3 months of trying, we had to switch to bottle feeding because she just wasn't getting enough from my breasts, so we had to switch. And then that was actually a good thing because then my husband could help out at the time. When your husband, when you don't have, or when you're only breastfeeding, then it's only a woman's job because men don't have breasts, so they can't really feed. So anyways, there's a lot of lack of sleep that goes on. So you need a lot of support at the very beginning. You need to find your pattern, your new lifestyle. You're not the center of attention anymore. Everything is now on the child. And your relationship with your husband also changes, After birth, you're not supposed to have sex for, I think, like a month or something. And, you had this child come out of you. So, of course, you need to heal down there. You've got all sorts of ripped and torn skin, and that needs to repair. So, yeah, no, and that's the other thing, suddenly your baby's not in you anymore, and then you have this flabby belly, which again, that's a big turnoff for a lot of men. And this is an issue, this is where I call the men onto this. You guys need to shape up. And just because your woman has now extra flabby parts because, the baby is out, doesn't mean you can be mean or make fun or whatever. You need to step up to the plate and be a gentleman. She just gave you a child, so yeah. Respect is what's needed.